Hello. In this video, we've got this function, x squared minus 4x, and I put a graph of it over here with some tick marks so you can see the x and y coordinates. And what we're going to do is we're going to be finding average rate of change. Now, as you've seen in the text, whenever we're finding average rate of change, it's change in output over change in input. So, if we're going to do this for part A first, now note in part A we have x coordinates but we don't have y coordinates. Now there are two ways we could get the y coordinates. The first is we could look at the graph. So for example, if we look at our 2 points, we've got -1, and at -1 our function has a height of +5. And we look at our second point, we have x equals 2, and at 2 it appears that we have a height of -4. Now, if you're going, what if I don't have the graph? Well, what we could do is use the equation of the function. So, f of -1 is going to be, let's neaten that up a bit, -1 squared minus 4 times -1. And if you do the algebra on that, or actually the arithmetic, you get 5. And the same thing, f of 2 is going to be 2 squared minus 4 times 2, that's -4. Now I'm going to find the average rate of change. In class you'll often see me abbreviate this as ARC. It is the change in output over the change in input. So I'm going to take y coordinate minus y coordinate. So we've got -4, that y coordinate, minus our next coordinate, which is -5, over our x coordinate 2 minus our other x coordinate -1. Please note that I have to be very careful about order here. -4 minus 5, and then 2 minus -1. This is -9 over +3. This is an average rate of change of -3. Now it's very important. We can now visualize this average rate of change on the graph. In other words, we can think of the point that goes from -1, +5, there, all the way to 2, -4, there. And we will think about that line as having a slope equal to -3. The minus sign in particular means that we are decreasing. Okay, let's do that again. Let's do part B. Oops, sorry, I've got the wrong tool going. In B, we have, again, 2 points. So we've got 1, and note that at 1, our function is equal to -3. And 4, and note that at 4, our function is equal to 0. So, if we find average rate of change, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking change in the output over change in the input. 0 minus -3 over 4 minus 1. That's going to be 3 over 3. That's going to be 1. So now, if I talk about that line, here we go. It's going to go from this point, 1, -3, to 4, 0. And we're going to say that that line has a slope equal to +1. It's very important. What I want you to be able to do when you're working on this standard is take a function, take 2 points, find the average rate of change, and represent that on the graph. If you can do all those things, you're in good shape.